I gave the order. It was my responsibility.
I pulled the trigger. That's mine.
Hi everyone, welcome to Smoking and Drinking in Space. This is Jason.
And Red.
And this is a podcast about sci-fi from a couple guys who think they know about sci-fi.
Yeah, we do.
Right? Right now we are discussing the reboot of Battlestar Galactica. And today we start on episode 1 of season 1. But first I wanted to ask you, have you seen the new Black Panther movie yet?
No, not yet.
Oh, it's great. You really need to go see it. It's one of those movies that even for a superhero movie, it's doesn't have any real slow spots.
Oh, that's good.
So I know that you recently saw finally Thor Ragnarok.
I did.
What did you think about that?
It was good. I liked it. It was a little campy for me, but I liked it.
Campy how?
It was just a lot of comic relief. There wasn't, in my opinion, a defined good versus evil type thing going on. There was definitely some challenges. Beautifully done. Well made.
Oh, the visuals on it were fantastic. I love
it is very
bright
good,
primary
very
colors. Yeah.
Not too big a fan of. Are we allowed to do spoilers on this one? I mean, it is on DVD now.
That is true. It is on DVD now.
Should that be our rule? If it's been more than a week since DVD, we can talk.
Well, we'll just say spoiler alerts. If you haven't seen the movie yet, you might want to pause or jump ahead.
I didn't think I'd ever see Thor in a teddy. I mean, really, he pulled it off. I was totally shocked about him being in a teddy. It was amazing. I didn't know he could sing "I'm a Little Princess" quite so well. But
he's a man of multiple talents.
He is. He absolutely is. Of course, that's the director's cut.
Truth,
right now, there's
story.
A bunch of people going, "Holy shit, director's cut! I got to go back and look at that. Thor's in a teddy." Yeah, he's in a teddy. You sick bastards.
No, if you get the chance though, definitely go see Black Panther. It's one of those movies that the pace, the pacing is really good. The visuals are fantastic. The action is really good, and the acting is top notch. So
I'm looking forward to. I've gotten to where I buy a lot of things on digital now, so it's just up in the cloud. I like that. So,
yeah, it does make it convenient. Get to watch it anywhere you have a device that'll.
Oh, well, no, I'm not that modern. I still watch them at home. I'm not going to... To me, watching something on a phone is just silly.
I don't know. You get stuck in an airport and a phone is a
well, I still think air travel's a fad. I mean, come on.
Probably not going to last more than another couple of years.
It's like the internet. This is just a fad.
Right.
But no, I'm looking forward to getting it. I just recently purchased, like I was telling you earlier, I got the 2 latest Star Wars movies. I finally watched those. I am a hardcore canon from the original films and from the books that were approved originally to be put out as canon. And since Disney's taken over, there's been a complete usurping of all that is holy.
It wasn't a complete usurping. They just cleaned some things up so they could...
Clean some things up. All right. Now you are alluding that something needed to be cleaned.
My God.
There's nothing wrong with
they
how
had
it was.
volumes on the original canon just to keep it straight for the extended universe. It was ridiculous.
And for those of us without a life that are a bibliophile, that we enjoyed that.
Yeah, but I mean, it had more contradictions than the Bible.
Well, don't even get me started on that work of fiction. But no, I see what you're saying. I do, and I'm very happy that everybody liked it. My stance is the best Star Wars movie to come out since Jedi has been Rogue One. I thought that was great.
That was a
I
good
thought it
movie.
was good. But, they're going to do what they want to do, you know. But no, I thought that the change in canon, it's just a sad thing. But, I'm also getting gray. So things happen.
Not that they changed canon, it's just they refreshed it. Think of it
Refreshed,
as
clean.
looking at it through a new lens.
While we're at it, we should go ahead and get rid of that pile of junk called the Parthenon and put in a Motel 6 or something. They can leave the light on for us.
Yeah, let's do it.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, so yeah, I have been getting caught up on some of the more contemporary sci-fi, and it's been good. I enjoy the action in these new movies. I'm looking forward to the new Deadpool when it comes out.
Yes, very much looking forward to that.
Have you heard whether or not they're going to bring Bishop into Deadpool, the character?
I don't know
they're
about
bringing
Bishop.
in Cable.
Yeah, they're bringing in Cable. I think there's rumors that Bishop may be in it from some screenshots that they released like a month or two ago.
As I understand it, Bishop came along first, and then Cable came back to get Bishop in line. So I didn't know if they were changing things up for that too, because hey, it's the movies; it needs to be cleaned up.
Not sure. I know Domino's in it. I know Cable's in it. I know they brought back, or they did some reshooting for another character that they're bringing into it, and I don't know that I've read what character that is. So
right. Well, I just hope they keep it a hard R.
Oh yeah, it's definitely going to be a hard R. It's a Deadpool movie, and with the success that they had on the first Deadpool movie, they're not gonna back away from that.
I hope not.
Yeah, looking forward to Deadpool. Not. Looking forward to the first Infinity War.
I think it'll be good. And I enjoyed Justice League. I thought that was good.
I thought Justice League was okay. It wasn't.
I know you did.
It wasn't too bad. I mean, it was the CGI could have been a lot better.
Right.
I think the plot and it going through two different directors really hurt it a lot. Could have had a little more backstory on some of the ancillary characters like Cyborg and the Flash and Aquaman.
Yeah.
Could have developed those a little more. It seemed
well,
muddled.
And I was told by the women in my life that they also needed more topless scenes with Aquaman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Apparently that was a faux pas.
Jason Momoa isn't hard to look at now.
Yeah, they were fond of him, but now didn't I hear that The Rock is going to be playing in the Captain Marvel movie?
Yeah, I think he's playing Black Adam.
Black Adam, right? Now that'll be good. I can definitely see him doing Black Adam.
If they make that movie, I'm still not convinced they're making that movie, but
I wonder who they get to play Captain Marvel.
That's a good question.
I mean, what kid they're going to get to play, the kid. Can't even remember that character's name. But no, that'll be interesting. That would be interesting. I've often thought that Captain Marvel was better than Superman.
How so?
Well, I mean, he's got all the abilities of Superman, plus he's magic. It's like Superman meets Doctor Strange, so.
Is he as strong and as fast as Superman?
Yeah, they've done several comics, even a couple of cartoons where they were going at it, and really what gave Superman the edge was just simply experience. So, which I think is kind of strange because Captain Marvel's supposed to have the wisdom of Solomon. So you would think that he would be more than a match for the experience of, what is it? Kal-El is his name. Superman's name is Kal-El. So he should be more than enough, or at least on par, because now that I think about it, Kal-El was given all the knowledge of the fucking Kryptonian race.
Right.
He was in transit to this little spaceship we called Earth. But yeah, I would just, because that's one of Superman's weaknesses He's weak,
The
to
magic.
supernatural powers and kryptonite. So you got to do something to knock that god off his throne. I mean, he is just so damn strong.
He is, and they've knocked him off his throne several times and keep bringing him back.
Right, right. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to if they ever do make that movie. That'll be great. But then again, you're not too fond of the Star Trek reboots, and I am.
Yeah, no,
I think
I'm
the
not.
Star Trek reboots are just fine. I think they've cast some great actors. I
They
am
have.
I am so disappointed and saddened um, by the loss of the actor that played Chekhov. His name escapes me at the moment.
Anton Yelchin.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what a way to go. That is such a shame. He was just starting. I really enjoyed him in Odd Thomas. Was the first time I ever watched him in a movie, and he did such a good job in that. I just started, fanboying him, following him around in his different films. What else has he made? And he was such a good actor. But I thought Odd Thomas, I'll throw that out there. You should watch Odd Thomas if you haven't seen it yet. I think it's still available on Netflix.
Yeah, I'll put it on the list.
It's really good. It's kind of. Do you remember the movie The Frighteners with Michael J. Fox?
I do.
Take The Frighteners and put a little more edge to it.
Ooh, that sounds good.
It was really, really a very well made movie. He can see some supernatural creatures that are there, but they're outside of most people's mental acuity, and as a result, he's one of the few that can actually go in and try and fight these things because they're drawn to death and destruction and mayhem. And when you see one or two of these things, something really bad's going to happen. And the movie opens up real early. I'll just leave it at this. The movie opens up, he sees about 130 of them.
Oh, crap.
Yeah, that's pretty much what he says. That's pretty much what he says. And they're kind of like jackals. They're not the most intelligent things in the world, but they're like wolves or jackals. I would call them more like jackals on their behavior and whatnot. And it leads the viewer down an interesting journey for the film. It's a good show. It's a good show. I was kind of sad they didn't make a sequel, but he got so busy doing other things like the Star Trek movies. But yeah, I thought he was a good scene stealer for sure. But yeah, I like the new Star Treks. They're fine.
Yeah,
And it's not like they had to go up much to defeat William Shatner's thespian abilities. But
Hey, come on. Kirk is the best captain.
yeah, we're not going to be able to get to the show if we go down that road.
We'll save that for another episode.
That's going to have to be one for sure. Absolutely. Put that one on the books to be discussed at a later date. Who was the better captain? Oh my God. Nobody's ever talked about that on the internet.
Yeah, probably not.
That's virgin territory. Well, what am I saying?
Field
There's no
discussion
such thing as virgin territory with Captain Kirk, right?
True point. All right, so we've got the first episode of Season 1, Battlestar Galactica, the reboot.
Yes, good episode.
It was a really good episode.
Thought you'd like it.
So the opening scene, we see Gaius is sleeping. Everybody around him and on the Galactica is looking really haggard. And what you find out is that the Cylons show up to attack about every 33 minutes, and the fleet has to jump to escape.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's on edge. Some of the civilian ships just can't take this constant faster than light jumping. Their computers are not keeping up. They're having to reboot them. Their crews are exhausted. And you find out that this has been going on for about 5 days. So most of the crews on these...
I think the episode opens up with them 128 hours without sleep.
Yeah, so most of these crews have been going for 5 days without sleep. Adama is snapping at Ty. Apollo is visibly weary. You see Boomer, she's snapping at her Rio and the Chief. It pans over, you see there's an entire corridor with pictures of the missing people that other people, the survivors, are looking for. And then you get a scene where Rosalind's asking for a survivor count, and they write up on this board a number. It's 49,000 something. So there's a little under 50,000 people that have survived that are carrying on the mantle of man, or of colonies of man.
And I was disappointed. You know how they have the old and the new blended
Yeah,
so much, especially regarding, technology.
right.
I really thought a chalkboard would have been more appropriate than a whiteboard.
A chalkboard? Nobody uses chalkboards now.
God, yes, they need to, though. I miss chalkboards.
Really? You miss that dust?
I do, because the smell of the markers gives me a headache.
Well, stop putting them up your nose.
If they weren't supposed to go there, they wouldn't fit.
Yeah, I can't argue that logic. So
No, but I just thought it would have been an even greater contrast if there'd been just like a little easel or something that could be knocked over, or just an old primitive chalkboard that maybe would get damaged and fall down and break, and then they put that broken board back up on the wall after a battle or something. You see where I'm going? I just thought it would have been yet another throwback.
well, they use enough whiteboards and grease boards as it is, and they're supposed to be this super modern technology with faster than light travel.
Sure.
I mean, they could go all the way back to spinning wheels, I guess.
I just would have thrown a chalkboard in there for the fuck of it. I mean, let's do a little homage to the 19th century. I also thought it would have been cool to see them writing with pencils sans the eraser.
Sans the eraser? Why?
Well, a lot of drafters do that because they need as much pencil as possible when they're doing their, back in the day when they would hand grind out the tips to the pencils, and they had large handheld separate erasers.
Right.
I just thought that would have been something cool. Also, just seeing that right next to a microprocessor, I just think is cool. It'd be like somebody jotting down notes with a quill inside a holodeck.
So you want steampunk Battlestar Galactica?
Well, not totally steampunk, but I think a few references back to it would have been kind of neat. Because they had already kind of started down that path. I just think it would have been neat if they took a few extra steps.
Right. We get a scene with Gaius, who is discussing with Imaginary 6 about having kids.
We're still in disagreement on the Imaginary.
She's imaginary. She's in his head.
She's in a different form, but I don't know that she's imaginary. I think he's linked into a consciousness.
I think she's in his head.
Okay.
Gaius overhears the president talking with her aide about a Dr. Emirate who wants to speak with her about the Cylon attack and how they were able to defeat the colony defenses. Of course, this puts Gaius on edge because he knows exactly how they were able to defeat the defenses. He helped program it with the real 6 that he's now imagining. See how I circled back on that?
No, I caught that. Yeah, that's what.
So on the next scene, we see Cylon occupied Caprica, and guess who's alive? It's our old pal Hilo.
Hilo.
And he has booby traps. So he's being chased by a couple of Cylons, and he ducks behind a log, and shortly thereafter ignites a booby trap that takes out both of those Cylons.
Right.
So we cut to commercial, come back, and we see that exhaustion is starting to wear down Commander Adama, and he goes to take a 10-minute nap. Apollo and Starbuck are arguing over whether she should use stims to fly. Of course, she is arguing that she shouldn't.
Is there any other way?
I guess.
I mean, I think that's how United does it.
Maybe, I don't know. Starbuck gets authoritarian on Apollo, starts mocking his CAG skills, and then they both crack up and have a laugh because neither one of them are being serious at that point.
We should cut out United and put in Pan Am. They can't sue.
That's right. Back on Caprica, we see Hilo is taking his no-glow shot. Apparently there's some radiation in the air from all of the nuclear explosions on Caprica.
Well, that's because they were using communist weapons. American nuclear weapons, not an issue.
Right.
American
Radiation
radiation's
free.
good for you. And he didn't need to have that. All he needed was a good public school issued desk.
To duck
He
and
could have
cover under.
sheltered
Right.
himself.
Yep.
Hurt the turtle, baby.
Well,
Hurt the turtle.
and a blanket. Don't forget the blanket.
Well, yeah. Duck and cover.
He ducks and covers.
While he is taking his anti-radiation shot, he notices to his left there's a 6 in a white coat, and he stands up, points his gun at her, and realizes there's a toaster behind him that has a gun pointed at him. So Hilo is now captured. We jump back to the Galactica. It's getting attacked by the Cylons for the umpteenth time, and does yet another jump just as some missiles about to crack it open. They get a status report after the jump, and it looks like they left a civilian ship behind. And that had, the Olympic carrier, and that had about 1,300 people on it. Nobody's sure what happened. I do want to say that Commander Adama's beard grows faster than a werewolf's. He had shaved earlier, and I'm pretty sure it was like right after jump 237, and this is jump 238. And he's already in 33 minutes rocking long stubble. So
Well, yeah.
So it seems that Gaius is the luckiest bastard alive. Dr. Emmert
Was on the carrier.
was on the Olympic carrier.
So problem solved. Episode's over. The fleet's destroyed. Yay, Cylons.
Yay, Cylon. No.
Is that not what happens?
No, that's not what happens.
Oh.
Yeah, so this time after the 33 minutes expired, Dratus doesn't light up with Cylons. So everybody's holding their breath, wondering, are they going to come? What's going on? I know we lost a ship, but, is that what caused them not to chase us?
Well, it kind of depends. I mean,
Well, at this point, Commander Adama orders Condition 2 and starts giving the crew members time to rest. Apollo, Starbuck, and Boomer are taking the first cap. Starbuck jokes that Boomer is holding up so well without sleep is because the reason is because she's a Cylon. And
yeah, that's a shitty thing to say.
It is.
That was rude.
Calling people Cylons just because they don't seem to be sleep deprived.
I know.
Ty decides he's going to take a nap for a couple hours, and lo and behold, the Olympic carrier jumps into the system. Adama's not having any of that. He smells a rat and starts calling action stations, puts everybody up to Condition 1, and orders all the Vipers to be ready on the deck. Gaius, who is having sexy times with the imaginary 6 in his head, starts working out a way to fix the problem of the return ship by getting it destroyed.
Well, but you also have to recall that 6 made it very clear to him that God was taking care of him.
That's right. So
the reason the Olympic carrier and the doctor reappear was because God's going to teach him a lesson.
That's right. He wasn't faithful enough. He didn't believe, and this is his punishment for questioning the actions of God.
Yes.
So, Boomer establishes comms with the Olympic carrier, and what they tell everybody is that their faster-than-light drives were down, and it took about 3 hours to fix. The odd thing is they said the Cylons broke off their attack after the rest of the ships jumped, and they were able to make their repairs and catch up to the rest of the fleet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Gaius is having none of that. So Gaius throws a fit, says the ship has Cylon agents on board, and that all further communications should be ended.
Adama then agrees.
President Roslin and Adama both agree, and Boomer is ordered to jam all of the Olympic ship's signals. So at that point, the Olympic carrier starts heading towards the rest of the fleet. She starts a burn and is making a beeline. She almost hits the Raptor that Boomer's
Yeah,
flying.
they order the ship to hold position and they disregard and they just continue moving through. And then lo and behold, what does Boomer detect?
Yeah, so the ship starts to glow with radiation. Both the Galactica and Boomer's ship detects the radiation. Commander Adamas notifies Rosalind that the ship needs to be destroyed. She agrees. He gives the order, and Starbuck and Apollo back off towards the aft of the ship and light it up. Now, that's not without serious reservations. Both of them kind of hesitate. Starbuck really doesn't want to do it. She's almost.
She's high. She's
well,
weak.
yeah. So
she's high.
So being high and being weak are two different things.
She's high and weak.
High and weak.
And weak. It's just another target. Take it out.
She argues, but eventually she does fire after Apollo opens fire.
Yeah. Can't even take the initiative on her own. She's got to be a follower.
Right as this happens, the Cylons jump into the system after 30, and it was 33 minutes after the Olympic carrier had jumped in.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Galactica and its fleet starts jumping out. We then cut to Hilo, who's in the forest and has a bag on his head. I don't think he's that bad of a looking guy, but if they think that he needs a bag on his head, then who am I to argue?
But hey, in the dark, it all feels good.
So White Jacket 6 takes off the bag and asks if he's alive, kind of like the first episode of the miniseries. She asks the same question, "Are you alive?" And then gives him a really, really friendly kiss.
Well, 6 is great.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me back up there. So White Jacket 6 takes off the bag, asks if he's alive, and then he starts to give his name, rank, and serial number. She says, No. I know who you are. I'm a friend. And then gives him a really, really friendly kiss. So this must have sparked some sort of jealous rage in what seems to be Boomer, because it pans over and there's Sharon with a gun.
I know.
And she shoots 6 in the back and rescues Hilo and runs off into the forest. And as they run off into the forest together, there's another White Jacket 6 with a toaster next to him, and they watch them do their Hansel and Gretel reenactment. Back in the flight briefing room, Apollo is updating the duty board, and Commander Adama comes and comforts him. They both take responsibility for the Olympic carrier destruction. Adama says, I gave the order. I don't
see why they did that, because they were following orders.
Well, I mean, Adama wasn't really following orders. He got authorization, but it was pretty much his idea.
Right. But
and
still.
He was the one that ordered Apollo to do it. But Apollo said, I pulled the trigger. That's something I have to live with, so.
Yeah, we got to keep him a tortured soul.
Right. And we end the episode with Rosalind being told there was a baby born, and she updates the head count board. So it's 49,000 some odd people. Or I'm sorry, no, it's 47,000 at this point because of the 1,300 that they lost with the Olympic carrier. So it's 47,000 something plus 1. And that's where we ended.
Yeah. But there was something in that episode that I thought was rather interesting. It seems like the Cylon are both through, as you like to refer to her, imaginary 6, and the humans. It's almost as if there's a desire within the Cylon to seek the approval of man for the Cylon's attempted destruction of man. I'm not really clear why they would need that, but that's how it struck me.
I don't know. Maybe they have, mommy and daddy issues.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking, actually.
Like they're trying to they're seeking approval by
Right,
acting out.
justification.
I don't
Right.
know.
But it's like, it's definitely a child and parent issue. There's some interesting dynamics being developed. They seek to destroy humanity, but at the same time, they're emulating humanity. They're trying to understand human emotion. They're attempting to justify their actions through their humanity. They're even adopting a religion. And it just seems like it is very non-machine, non-logical. I would say it's a flaw within Cylon.
Well, you're
They want
assuming
to
that
be.
Cylons are purely logical beings, but even in
Well,
the episode when we see Imaginary Six talking to Gaius, and she says that Dr. Emmeret posed a threat, and therefore his ship got destroyed. Logic would dictate that that was a cause and effect type situation, which is a logical fallacy.
Sure. But yeah, I think that's something we're probably going to see throughout the remainder of the series is there's going to be a conflict within the Cylon to be, machine or man.
Yeah, I'm not convinced that the human-like Cylons are purely logical beings, and we've seen that already. That
Right.
whether the emotions that they express are real or not,
Mm-hmm.
they are expressing emotions and at least acting illogically at moments.
Well, and the question is, how long do you pretend to be something before you become that which you pretend to be?
I guess it would depend on. How deep the programming goes. I mean, are they just programmed to emulate emotion, or are they actually experiencing real emotion?
Exactly. Or do they start experiencing real emotion by pretending to do so? And then what is real emotion? I mean, is it simply you start buying into your own act? There's a movie with Nick Nolte called Mother Night. And long story short, it's another one I would recommend people watch. He plays an American living in Nazi Germany, and he is a radio broadcaster, very popular. And he decides to stay in Nazi Germany when his mother and father leave, and he ends up working for Goebbels in propaganda. And in
Well,
the
yeah, but
preview, in the
he was
trailer,
working. He was working with the OCC.
well, but originally he was not. He was approached and he was going to work for them. And then he was approached by John Goodman's character, his blue fairy godmother, to say, we want you to work for us. And you'll, do certain things on the radio, clear your throat, cough, sneeze, whatever, and that'll have a certain meaning that somebody else will jot down, and we'll use that to get information smuggled out of Nazi Germany to the Allies. But the question was, how long do you pretend to be something before you actually become what you're pretending? So his character, one of the main issues was he's pretending to be a Nazi. And did he actually become a Nazi even though he was a double agent? I mean, a lot of times I would think, law enforcement have to question that too when they're undercover. How long do you pretend to be a gangster before you actually realize you are that which you've pretended to be, no matter how noble the original cause? So I wonder if that's not something that we should kind of keep an eye on with the development of the Cylon, especially the skin jobs, the human versions. I guess you'd call them androids, because they are in fact doing that as well.
Right. No, yeah. So what would you say the theme of the episode is? What would you say they're trying to pull across?
I think they're still establishing a baseline for the characters. And I also think that they're wanting to start a reveal, because we're going to start, I think, seeing a greater dynamic develop between Gaius and the Cylon.
Imaginary Six?
Yes. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's something that could definitely be worth paying attention to. I don't want to say any more because that would start leading into the next episode. I'm operating on the presumption that there are some people that are watching each episode as we discuss it. I don't want to get ahead.
True. Yeah, that we definitely got some insight on a lot of Gaius. I don't know if it was the sleep deprivation that's slowly driving him mad, or if it's imaginary 6 or what, but he's definitely walking down the path of madness. We got some good insight on the Apollo and Starbuck dynamic. We got a little bit of insight on Boomer and how she kind of works and operates. She's definitely missing Hilo. You can definitely sense that off of her from her snapping at her brand new CO. Really, I mean, those were the characters that I saw that it really concentrated on. We're reintroduced to Hilo. We see that he's alive, so it's only a matter of time, I'm sure, before they bring him back.
Right.
We get some foreshadowing that Boomer is indeed a Cylon. Of course, we saw that in the second episode of the miniseries. I don't know.
So now we got 3 Cylon models confirmed.
That's
you got
right.
You got the guy on the munitions station.
I was trying to remember
Boomer.
if they showed another one. No, we've got 4. We've got
that's
6.
right, because when they came in to talk to him at the station,
yeah,
there were some others that came through, and we'll see glimpses of them on the fleet.
Yeah, so we've got the guy that they originally found on the station that Adama fought. We got the guy who they suspected was on the Galactica as a Cylon that Gaius tried to... Gaius sure is getting lucky on identifying Cylon shit.
He's not lucky. He is the chosen of God.
He is not. I think it's his subconscious working out.
No.
Logically, no.
No.
Yeah.
You're calling the Messiah a narcissist. Come on. No.
Yeah, I think Imaginary 6 is basically his kind of Cylon filter.
Think so?
The way he sees things as a Cylon in order to pick up.
Are you
what they're
alluding
doing.
to the fact that you think he himself could be a Cylon?
I don't know. It's possible.
Oh dear, getting a bit sketchy.
I don't know that he's a Cylon. Yeah, I couldn't make that call this early in the season. But we do see the guy that he originally accused of being a Cylon, who actually was a Cylon. Right. And then we see the Boomer and the 6 models. So we have 4 confirmed Cylons at this point. And there's 12 models, right?
Yeah. There are 12.
So we have 1/3 identified.
And how many colony planets were there?
There were 13.
Well, if you include Earth.
Right.
So,
but there were 13 tribes, so each tribe has a colony planet.
Right, and the 13th tribe, right. But of the original colony worlds that the Cylons attacked, there were
12. Right. Yeah.
And there are 12 Cylon models.
Yep.
So,
and
there you go. I'm thinking that 6 is definitely a Scorpio.
Why?
Oh, that's the sexiest sign there is, baby.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
Oh, yeah. I once read a thing on the internet, so you know it's true. That,
yeah, if it's on the internet, it has to be true.
Different parts of the body are ruled by different constellations, and that the genitalia are controlled by the Scorpio. And she's a freak. She got a glowy spine.
That's true, she does.
She's a freak. But yeah, they're even emulating, coming up with 12 colonies of man, and they make 12 Cylon models. I mean, they're definitely trying to get mommy and daddy's approval while they hack mommy and daddy to pieces. It's a very interesting dynamic. Actually becoming what they're seeking to destroy.
All right, so what are we looking at for the next episode? Going to be season 1, episode 2.
Yes, there's going to be a lot of increase in the development between Boomer and Hilo. And you're going to start getting an idea about a plan that the Cylons have and why they are allowing the Cylon Boomer to get closer to Hilo. You also start seeing some hints at a division in thought between the Cylon models.
Ooh.
Some think that what Boomer is trying to accomplish is awesome, and others think that it's a complete waste of time.
Well, Season 1, Episode 2 is titled Water, so it should be a wet episode.
It should be. It should be a very moist episode. Things are always better when they're wet. But the issue I have, though, is you're not allowed in this next episode to start getting too sciencey on us and complaining about the manufacture and or production of said substance known as water.
Okay. Is it just that bad?
It's pretty bad.
I'll see about suspending belief.
There you go. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. I mean, how tough would it be for a ship like the Galactica to produce water?
I guess it would depend on the materials they had available. I wouldn't imagine it's too hard.
Well, like fusion reactor?
Yeah, they should be able to do that pretty easily.
There you go. And we'll leave it at that.
Okay, well.
You'll see. I'm looking forward to hearing the rant prior to the episode being recorded. You might even need to record some of that rant.
Yeah, if it's too bad, then I'm going to have to talk about it. Sorry.
There you go.
All right, well, we appreciate you joining us. Next time, we will discuss Season 1, Episode 2, Water. Hopefully it won't be too bad. It'll be
a real quencher.
Yeah. This has been Smoking and Drinking in Space. I am Jason.
I am Red.
Our intro and outro music is Welcome Home by Cambo. We'll talk to you next time. Thanks.
Be well.